Welcome to Vsb News Online for Monday, April the 13th. I'm Charles Webb. The two men who were removed from a charter flight yesterday afternoon by Bermuda police officers were each found guilty in magistrate court this afternoon and were fined $3,000 or 4 months in prison for causing an affray and endangering the safety of an aircraft. The court was told that a Thomson Airways 787 Dreamliner was heading from London to Cancun, Mexico on Sunday with close to 300 passengers and a crew when the two men, who appeared to have been drinking, began to fight each other. When the air crew and other passengers were unable to break up the fight, the pilot decided to detour to Bermuda. A large team of police officers boarded the plane and took the two men into custody. The plane was able to fly on to Mexico late in the afternoon, but the two men spent the night in police jail and appeared in court today. A last-minute venue change due to rain failed to dampen the spirits of the 130 musicians participating in Bermuda Regiment's 50th anniversary reunion concert. The event was scheduled for Government House yesterday afternoon, but rainy weather forced the proceedings to move to the Ruth Seaton James Auditorium. Captain Mark Lavery, in charge of special projects for the regiment and a member of the anniversary committee, talks about the success of the event and what's in the pipeline for the future.
Overall, I think it was a great day, weather issues notwithstanding. They were featured to the band and corps of drums of the Bermuda Regiment. They were playing alongside other community bands and musicians, including the Bermuda Islands Pipe Band, featuring members of their dance division, the North Village Community Band, Somerset Brigade Band, the Bermuda Chamber Choir, and the Bermuda Youth Orchestra. Spectators were treated to a number of traditional favorites, including the Skaters' Waltz, Highland Cathedral, of course, the Regimental March of the Bermuda Regiment. But they even got a few modern tunes like the theme to Star Wars, How to Train Your Dragon, and Games of Thrones. So it was a fun, relaxed atmosphere and a really good afternoon overall.
What is your next event to commemorate the 50th anniversary?
We've got a number of events coming up. Immediately is the launch of the 50th anniversary stamp issue by the Bermuda Post Office, which will be happening this Thursday, April 16th. Following that is a pretty big event on the 50th anniversary year calendar. It's a peppercorn ceremony, the traditional peppercorn ceremony, which will happen Wednesday, April 22nd, starting at 10:30. But as a special part of the 50th anniversary, the Worshipful Mayor of St. George's will bestow the Freedom of the Town to the Bermuda Regiment. It's a special honor and it's an ancient custom observed elsewhere, but it's the first time for both the Bermuda Regiment and the town of St. George's.
Now, I don't remember, what is the event that will wind up the celebrations?
That's our signature event. That's going to be the Bermuda Tattoo, which is happening in October. And if anyone remembers the tattoo that was held just a few years ago, it'll take a similar format to that with obviously the band and corps of drums of the Bermuda Regiment featured prominently, but also with invited bands from other militaries across the world. And it should be a really good event. It's shaping up to be a great event. So.
The speech delivered by Premier Michael Dunkley at last Saturday's OBA Spring Conference dealt with the main part on the achievements he felt had been accomplished in close to 2.5 years. Then he turned to the opposition's policy of negativity, which he said had been making a mockery of democracy.
Taken together, the accomplishments that I have listed are solid reasons to see the future with more optimism, to shed that negativity that too often is part of the general conversation. But alas, it is not so clear-cut. This brings me to the politics of today and the two competing narratives that seem to be in a 24/7 struggle. There is our positive view that we believe in Bermudians. We believe in the future and our collective ability to get there. And then there is the grinding negativity of the PLP leadership, who offer little but aggression and spite, who attack to distract, who feed the cinders of historic mistrust whenever they can, who work to keep us as Bermudians apart. Amidst all of that noise, it is interesting to note that the PLP have supported the vast majority of the legislation the OBA government has put forward. 2 weeks ago in the Senate, they chose not to vote against the immigration reform bill, despite organizing a protest which stopped proceedings for a while. That incident and the PLP's record of support for our legislative agenda exposes their empty political politics, which, in my opinion, puts party first, party second, and party third. Friends, this is a great disservice to Bermuda, especially when collaboration could help many of our island problems. And I will be very clear again. We are always willing to collaborate, from one end of the cabinet table to the other, in ministries throughout government, and from east to west. We have collaborated on every issue. But you must stop and reflect and ask, how can you collaborate with a party that's led by a man who said that there will be no collaboration?
The organizers of the 2017 America's Cup in Bermuda are working hard behind the scenes to attract more interest to the competition. And as Vsb News' Brian Darby reports, there is now talk of there being entries from 1 or 2 Asian countries.
The 2017 America's Cup will feature 6 or 7 yachts despite fallout over a change in boat size, according to race director Russell Coates this weekend. A probable new Asian entry will be announced next month. For the next contest in Bermuda, boats will be shrunk from 62 feet to 45 feet as a cost-saving measure. 4 of the 6 teams who voted in favour of reducing the boat size last week issued a statement at the weekend criticising Team New Zealand for their opposition. Russell Coates, who is Chief Executive of the America's Cup Event Authority, said that since the launch of the 45-foot boats, people had realized that the boats, much smaller than the AC-72s, were fast and good for television. And with the AC-48, budgets are less important. To be a decent player, if you're starting today, you would need around $20 to $30 million. Coates went on to say, "We are trying to get other teams in the game. We want quality, better races." The New Zealander, a 5-time winner of the oldest international sporting trophy, said a realistic number of teams competing in 2017 will be 6 or 7, including 1 or 2 Asian teams. And one of these will be announced next month. The official list will be published before summer. So far, 5 teams are officially entered: defending champion Oracle team from the USA, challenger team New Zealand, Artemis of Sweden, Britain's Ben Ainsley Racing, and Team France. Brian Darby reporting for Vsb News.
And we'll be back with more news right after this.
The Marketplace Food Court is you and your family's one-stop shop. Start your day at the Breakfast Bar with omelets made to order and traditional Bermuda codfish breakfast. The chefs will cook lunch and dinner to your liking. Along with the salad bar, sandwich bar, sushi bar, and fruit bar, the Marketplace Food Court is your kitchen away from home. Every day is hassle-free with nutritious meals from the Marketplace Food Court. Visit us 7 days a week. Homemade cooking, quality service, all at prices you can count on.
Bermudian educator and researcher and author Dr. Katie Davis has been awarded over $1 million in funding for 2 research initiatives covering her pioneering work in the effect that digital media has on the development of young people. Dr. Davis, an assistant professor at the University of Washington, Seattle, has been awarded a $759,000 grant from the National Science Foundation to research how science, technology, engineering, and mathematics are taught, and a $385,000 grant from the Institute of Museum and Library Services to enable librarians to incorporate digital media into their work with young people. The National Science Foundation will provide funding over 5 years to investigate how network technologies can be leveraged to connect STEM learning in informal and formal contexts. Rubis Energy Bermuda has been making an annual fuel grant to the St. John's Ambulance Association since 2008. But this year, thanks to Tessera's group, operators of the East Broadway filling station, they have been able to up the grant to $5,500. The collaboration was announced today by David Rose, Managing Director of Rubis Energy. Michael Tessera, office manager of the Tessera Group, said his firm believes strongly in the work of the St. John's Ambulance Association and its volunteer staff and salutes each and every one of them. The uniformed first aid responders have been attending to the needs of Bermuda since 1894 and is now covering over 250 public events each year. And now we turn to Earl Baisden with the latest from the sports desk.
This weekend is shaping up to be a busy one for Bermuda in sports. Right here at the National Sports Center tonight is a warm-up match between Bermuda and Grenada in football. Right here on this field on Saturday, Bermuda will take on Turks and Caicos, who are in the background preparing for the match. On Sunday, up on the football field, Bermuda will play their second warm-up match against Grenada. Turks and Caicos manager, a former Bermuda resident, Keith Brandt, is hoping they can produce a win.
Well, obviously, we'd like to come away with a victory and go into our next match against Bahamas 1-up, but we know it'll be a tough ask. Bermuda's got a decent team, and they're playing on home soil, so, I'd say the advantage is theirs, but we're out here to compete, and we think we match up fairly well in a few areas in terms of probably use a bit of a kick and chase game. I think we probably have a bit of an advantage on the pace, and Bermuda will be a bit of a rumbling team and use their forwards from what I've seen in their last couple of games.
Now, amongst the Caribbean, we always see these type of tournaments come around, and it always seems to be a balance there. Do you feel as a region we are getting stronger in the sport of rugby?
Well, I would think what we're having is a bit of a change in rugby in the region. Financial crisis has resulted in fewer expatriates playing for Caribbean sides, and that's resulted in some change. Rugby's not a extremely popular sport in a lot of the Caribbean islands, and getting a decent youth development program is essential to then fielding a strong men's national team. Our squad, probably a bit like Bermuda, is split between some aging expatriates who, qualify to play, and a bunch of young Turks Islanders who don't quite have the experience but have the athletic skill sets that'll let them be good rugby players in the future. So, yes, we're seeing that a lot of the Caribbean nations are playing better rugby against each other. What I'm also seeing is that the nations that we have to compete against in our pool, Mexico, USA, Canada, they're pulling away just because rugby's becoming more popular in those countries. Mexico's got 93 million people. So from a pure competition point of view, that's sort of a David and Goliath competition.
The Bermuda Golf Association's Amateur Match Play Championships continued at the Mid-Ocean Golf Course under bright and sunny skies with a steady breeze blowing west-southwesterly. In the latest championship play, Ebony Burgess defeated Tina Balanca 7-6, while Tracy Burgess needed 19 holes to defeat Tracy Nash. Elizabeth Parsons defeated Gina Zangrillo 4-2, and the game between Katrin Burney and Linda Down needed 21 holes to decide a winner, with Down advancing. In the men's championship division, after being down 3 after 3 holes, Walker Campbell stormed back to defeat Sean Knight 4-3, while Jarrett Dillis, down 3 with 8 holes to play, could only pull 2 back as Mark Phillips won 1 up. Javon Roberts defeated Greg Riley Jr. 2-1, and the match between Joshua Cabrera and Gary Bregman ended in favor of Cabrera 1 up. Every year, Bermuda sailors take to the waters in Florida to compete in the Bacardi Miami Sail Week. In the One Design division, the team of Douglas DeCuto, Bill McNevin, and Raquel Evans, sailing Man of War, are in 5th place after 3 races with 16 points. The trio had finishes of 5th, 7th, and 4th. In the same division, Summers Kemp, Butch Agnew, and Adam Barboza are in 10th, sailing Overproof. They have 32 points after the 3 races. Competing in the J70 class, Chuck Milligan, Dave Brennan, Carola Cooper, and Dan Coughlin are in 38th place with 100 points. They recorded finishes of 35th, 29th, and 36th. In a lone Corona League makeup match at the BAA field last evening, it saw Robin Hood defeat Lock and Key 7-2. Robin Hood were led by Rohan Simons, who scored a hat-trick. Jamie Smith added 2. Fabio DeVello and Keenan Robinson added a goal each. Chris Anderson and Stevie Ashwood scored a goal each for Lock and Key. Meanwhile, David Jones and his Mansfield Youth teammates drew 1-1 yesterday with Solly Hall. Trey Simons and his Northern Iowa Athletic Community College men's indoor track and field teammates competed at the NJCAA regional meet in Storm Lake. Simons finished 2nd in the mile with a time of 4:24.34. Bathsheba had to win to keep their chances of making the playoffs alive, but Nadav Williams and his Haifa underdog teammates defeated them 50-7 in Israeli Football League action. Williams ended the game with 13 carries for 101 yards with 1 touchdown, and his longest run being 36 yards. Join me on Monday when I will have results of all these sports and more on VSB. I'm Earl Basden with sports.
Looking at the weather for Tuesday, April the 14th, it will be mostly sunny. Winds will be easterly and moderate, veering southeasterly by evening. We're expecting a high of near 72 and a low near 65. This weather forecast is the courtesy of the Bermuda Weather Service. Well, thanks for watching VSB News Online for Monday, April the 13th. I'm Charles Webb.